Live episode, I don't know, 338. Turns out you should probably not have your microphone muted when you start a show. Ask me how I know that. Today on the show, we're going to be talking about YouTube hiding dislike count. Main story of the day. I often think about my daughter and what she would feel like, getting a bunch of thumbs down. I don't know. I mean, I feel like the thumbs down button is a bit silly. But if I go to a YouTube video and it's got a bunch of thumbs down, it is helpful information. It's not great for the content creator themselves to see 1,000 thumbs down. I mean, and then you got like 72 million thumbs up and like 1,000 thumbs down. It's just so you're not going to please everybody, but that ratio is tough on people. And so there you have it. We're gonna be talking about that. They've decided YouTube's like, you know what, we're not doing it. You don't need to know how many people are thumbs down in your content. So as you peruse the internet, specifically YouTube, you're gonna see that thumbs down content number disappear. Widely viewed content report. Facebook is going to send out, or they did send out a report today that basically says, you know what, we're going to let you know what our most widely viewed content is so that you'll stop collectively hating us. Would you please stop hating us? This is what Facebook is, desperately trying to get everyone to think. Just love us, please. And so they're reducing reports to that effect. Is it going to work? Probably not. Facebook launching shops in groups and live shopping for creators. Live shopping for creators in Facebook. I mean, if the internet wasn't just a giant shopping mall already. You've got Pinterest with their own show, and a lot of these different social media platforms creating their own kind of live marketplaces. Facebook is the most recent. So again, live shopping for creators. We're going to dive into that today. Freelancers can now offer their services on LinkedIn's new gig marketplace. Are you a freelancer? Do you have gigs? You can go to the LinkedIn marketplace and potentially make some cheddar. That's something that I should probably do in regards to WordPress websites. So I am going to dive into that. I'll make myself a note. Secret Google Map tracks your movements all the time unless you turn it off, according to thehill.com. I know that's true. I knew that I was completely trackable for a long time, and I had no idea. Absolutely no idea. Zuckerberg is the most worried about Apple, Google, Microsoft, Sony, and others as the main competition for the metaverse. We've talked about this in the past. I think he's right. I think it's silly to think of anyone other than like the gamers. I mean, Sony, PlayStation, hello, like that's the metaverse. Duh. It's so funny to me. It's like, when you go back and you play Mario, Super Mario Brothers, Link to the Past, or any of these like old school games. That's the metaverse, bro. And you're like, yeah, but I didn't see a concert in the metaverse. That was the beginning. Atari was the beginning of the metaverse. So don't get it all twisted into thinking that Facebook. I mean, they've got users, but so does Nintendo, dude. So it's so funny to me that all of a sudden, Zuckerberg's like, no, we're going to create the metaverse. It's like, are you really? Are you going to do? Because you're developing a game. You're moving into game studio land. And I understand you got the Oculus, and I understand that that's a huge leg up, but I don't know. I'm not convinced. Not yet, anyway. So let's get into the main story of the day, which is YouTube hiding dislike counts. YouTube users will no longer be able to see how many dislikes a video has, a step the platform says it's taking to reduce harassment against creators. YouTube announced Wednesday it will make the dislike counter on videos private across the site, meaning the number of dislikes a video has will only be viewable by its creator. That to me is a little silly, isn't it? It's sort of like saying, look, we don't want anyone's feelings to get hurt. We don't want the creators to feel bad about it, and but we're still going to show them. You know what I mean? Hey, creators, we don't want everyone else to see how much they don't like you, but we want you to know. We want you to know that you got 2,000 thumbs down on that video, just so you can make better content. But we're not going to show the other people how bad it was. You know what I mean? Like that's too embarrassing. But we want you to know personally. So when you're tossing and turning at night about your most recent YouTube creation, wondering why people hated it so much, you'll know the exact number. But these other folks, they won't. So sleep tight, 14-year-old. That's a little rough for me. So the company said it experimented with taking the step earlier in the year in an attempt to, quote, better protect our creators from harassment and reduce dislike attacks. Yeesh. The result of the experiment, YouTube said in a blog post, was that people were less likely to target a video's dislike button to drive up the account. Yeah, but guess what? we're talking about a human malice issue. You know what I mean? Not necessarily a functional tool issue, which is to say that if someone wants to attack your video, they'll just leave a ton of comments. I mean, they'll sign up for a bunch of fake accounts and they'll just, or they'll dox you or a million other things. So this idea that we can regulate our way out of human evil is it's a story as old as humanity. We keep thinking we can get out of it, but at the end of the day, it's like, look, you got to look inward, you got to reflect, and love has to be the primary driver of everything you do, not fear, obviously. And in order to do that, the tools themselves, like a hammer can build a house or it can kill somebody. How do you want to use it? Just because they put like a little safety feature on the hammer doesn't mean that, some person's not going to use it in a horrifying way, which is to say that social media is precisely that. It's just a tool. We need to work on humanity first. First of all, the fact that, say, for example, my daughter in school the other day, she's literally writing 10 pages for this Arapaho project that she's doing, which is cool. And I'm for it, the project. What I'm not for is her hand literally cramping up as she writes all of these pages, because that is so stupid. Like, if you look at the education system, we're so far behind. When's the last time you wrote 10 pages? If you did it to be cute, to like send a message to someone or a letter or whatever. Nobody writes anything. No one writes anything. You might write a check, and that just has to be sort of legible. And by the time my daughter is, writing checks, there won't be checks, And so she's literally just stuck in like 2004, how behind are we? It's wild. And so, in regards to YouTube dislikes, it's like, can't we have an education system that's sort of, totally, Elon Musk made a great video on this the other day where he's talking about it should be completely scaffolded. And that's a jargon term from education where you talk about how each individual can be on their own level at whatever discipline they happen to be at. So like, if they speak fluent Spanish, they should be able to read Don Quixote in the original Spanish. Meanwhile, dude over here should be in Spanish 1. Like, our scaffolding in education is abysmal. And so if I think in education we allowed people to follow their bliss and not live in this sort of what's up, Skinny Iron, coming to us from Twitch. Hey to you. So if we allowed them to do that, then I think they'd have more love in their hearts. I mean, where does love come from? Love comes from being in an environment where you have the freedom to express yourself. And it doesn't come from, hiding the number of dislikes on the YouTube page. That's kind of stupid to me. I get it though. If I'm in YouTube's shoes, they're like, yeah, I don't care if you think it's stupid. We've run the numbers and we think this is a good positive move for the internet. We'll see if there's a backlash. You never know on things like this. But anyway, you're not going to be seeing little numbers on YouTube videos anymore. Koval is a YouTube employee. He said the move was being implemented in response to the big problem of viewers targeting a video's dislike button to drive up the count because they don't like their creator. I mean, that's a form of protest, right? So it's easy to say that if like, so Skinny Iron writes, hiding dislikes is a move that goes in favor of big corporations. You can elaborate on that. I don't know exactly what you mean by that, but for me, it's like, let's say there's some idiot, racist, homophobe who's creating a video and you can't show the number of dislikes on it, right? So there's that sort of thing too. So it goes both ways. Skinny Iron continues, but YouTube is trying to sell it as a thing to defend small YouTubers. Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, it kind of like, again, like I said, if my daughter's producing content, I don't want her to get a bunch of thumbs down as a father. That kind of makes me, nervous. But her content doesn't elicit that number of dislikes because it's super cute. So yeah. Anyway, if you want to be like Skinny Iron and leave comments on the live show, youtube.com/send it rising is where you can do that. Twitch, Coutsmania. And if you're listening after the fact on iTunes and Spotify, we appreciate it. Skinny Iron continues. If you're a gamer, remember Battlefield 5, how bad it was received. It was reflected in the YouTube video. Now it's not. But bingo. It's one of those things, like I was saying earlier in the show, if we can't voice our angst that we don't like someone, like you can look, as a parent, I know that saying no can be done in love. Do you understand that? Like, my daughter's like, I want more cotton candy, ice cream. It's like, no, But she gets all sad. That's love, right? I know you get this, parents, you get this, kids, you get this too. Ultimately, you know that it's not good for you either. And so, yeah, if Battlefield 5 comes out and it's a dumpster fire and some person goes to the page and they're thinking about buying it, they would have to read the comments essentially to see that people really hate it. And I'm sure there's other places where reviews for games are left, but this is YouTube's way to sort of, I don't know. I mean, the thing with them is they must be inundated all the time with people complaining about their product. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're YouTube, you just must be like, same with Facebook. People hate Facebook. But getting rid of dislikes, I don't know. We'll see where it goes. I'm not exactly for it. I think ultimately people should be able to voice themselves, and they'll have to do it in the comment section moving forward. But what do you think? Leave a comment. YouTube.com/Ascended Rising. Moving on. Widely viewed content report. This from Facebook. They say they're publishing a widely viewed content report for the third quarter of 2021 to highlight the most viewed organic content in newsfeed, which includes posts about people's favorite movies and pages dedicated to personal interests. They're going to continue to meet with academics and experts to discuss these reports in detail to consider their input while exploring product changes tied to this work. So there's been a lot of polarizing content dominating the news feed. So this report sheds more light on the types of content that reaches most people, which includes posts about favorite movies and pages dedicated to entertainment, cooking, and family. That is so funny to me. So basically, what Facebook is doing is they're going, "Hey, look, idiots. We know you hate us with every fiber of your being, and that our press is absolute garbage at this point, and but we really like our money. Okay, we really do. Like we love our San Francisco penthouses, and we love our 7-figure salaries. So here's an idea. Why don't you recognize that we have that you, the user, are actually looking at a lot of favorite movie pages and entertainment pages, and whatever." And then they move on to say, "We remove content from Facebook when it poses a real risk of harm, like graphic violence, hate speech, or fake COVID cures." This is basically just a PR page reducing low quality content. They're looking at newsfeed ranking to reduce the distribution of posts that may contain content people find objectionable. Yeesh. So all links to all articles are in the description. So if you want to read this little PR piece, it's the about.facebook.com link. You can check it out. But ultimately, yeah, Facebook trying not to be as hated as they are. Good luck. Good luck with that. This is just, since time immemorial, the billionaire class, the elite class, the ruling class, they get beat up like this because collectively, as the middle class and lower class, we look at them and we go, "This is jacked up. The way you're making your money off of us." They've always done that. This is always the path. They make their money off of us. And exploiting us in some way, shape, or form. Again, if you make a post on Facebook, you're working for Zuckerberg. This is how it works. Producing content, your time has value. The fact that you have electricity and you're inputting data into someone else's website, you're building their website. Which is to say, don't get Zuckerberged. If you're against Facebook, don't use Facebook. It really is that simple. Any time you spend on that platform, if you're against it, is time. And my brother was way ahead of the curve on this one. Very interesting. Now, before you think that I absolutely oppose Facebook, I don't. As I mentioned in a previous show, I met my long lost sister through Facebook. I used Facebook for years, and personally, I don't care because I don't go down the rabbit hole of Facebook hate. I just never have. I've never engaged in these stupid conversations, and ultimately, it's a platform that is totally fine with me. I just know that other people, like I'm not addicted to cigarettes, for example, but that doesn't mean that I'm pro tobacco. Do you understand what I'm saying? I understand that Facebook is causing a lot of harm for a lot of people, and to that point, therein lies my criticism of Facebook. That being said, Facebook is launching shops in groups and live shopping for creators. TechCrunch.com article. Facebook announced today that it's rolling out new shopping features, shops in groups, product recommendations, and a test of live shopping for creators. As I mentioned on the show before, my sister Chelsea, Chelsea Smith Cosmetics, you can check her out on TikTok and Facebook, has made a ton of money doing lives. She's very successful, and Facebook live shopping could be a great avenue for her. According to the article, Facebook announced today it's rolling out new shopping features. Shops and Groups enables admins of Facebook groups to set up an online store on their associated Facebook page. So if you are interested in selling products on Facebook Lives to a specific group, that is now an option. Every big tech company is looking to make dollar bills on the live, which is in part why this show is being simulcast on 5 platforms and is on 15 podcast platforms as well. Send it Rising Live. So freelancers can now offer their services on LinkedIn's new gig marketplace. This one coming from searchengineland.com. The LinkedIn service marketplace competes with the likes of Fiverr and Upwork. These sorts of places traditionally have not been a good driver of revenue for my company because it tends to be filled with people that will do the work for $5, $7, $10, this sort of thing. A lot of people in other countries where $10 is the equivalent of $100 or $50, they tend to get into these spaces. And so Fiverr and Upwork is just not a winner for us in particular, but that doesn't mean that it was not potentially a good place to go. I haven't checked it out. So admittedly, I am ignorant. LinkedIn has officially launched a marketplace that competes with platforms like Fiverr and Upwork, giving freelance SEO and pay-per-click professionals a new place to market their services. The LinkedIn service marketplace, which first launched as a beta in March, has already attracted 2 million users, according to LinkedIn. So if you are a service provider, you can set up a page. Service page will show an overview of the services you provide. There will be a rating and review section. If you're a potential client, you can just peruse and check it out. So this to me is sort of a long time coming. It's surprising to me that it took LinkedIn as long as it did to get here. But ultimately, having a place for you to sell your services is pretty interesting. LinkedIn Service Marketplace is what you want to remember to check out. I'm going to put it on my list, LinkedIn Service Marketplace. TheHill.com secret: Google Map tracks your movements all of the time unless you turn it off. Google's location history feature, as I pause this video on this article. Quick note to people who build websites: if you have auto playing videos, I'm disgusted by that. All right, so Google location history, introduced in 2009, logs users' locations through their smartphones. I know this because one day I checked and I was like, holy smokes, that is all of my location data for like the last 4 years. It's wild. It's just on by default. And if you think about it, we've covered articles where law enforcement will reach out to folks and say, yeah, let me know where this person's been, that sort of thing. That could get you off of a murder charge, or it could get you, thrown in jail for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. It's just wild, wild. Location history was designed to be helpful, and Google is able to provide a better service to its users because of it, according to the article. The feature is turned off by default because of the privacy risks associated with collecting geolocation data, but it's extremely easy for users to accidentally turn location history on. I think that must have been the issue that I had. So maybe I'm misunderstanding this. So I think it's one of those like, hey, do you want to turn on location data so that Google Maps works appropriately? And you just hit the yes button because otherwise it won't work. Stuff like that. According to the article, a hidden Google feature has tracked your location for years. Google's location history feature, an account-wide service that logs your movements through your smartphone, has stored the real-world comings and goings of millions of users since 2009. The knowledge that your movements are being monitored by one of the world's largest tech companies may be unsettling. And there's a way to turn it off. Obviously, my big question is... also, if you delete it, it's not going to get rid of any of your former data. You'll have to go to maps.google.com/timeline to delete there, apparently. Whew, I don't even want to get into this. I mean, it's a bit much. But yeah, if you don't want to be tracked, you actually got to go out of your way to make sure that that does not happen. Zuckerberg is most worried about Apple, Google, Microsoft, Sony, and others as the main competition forward the metaverse. This from BusinessInsider.com. Facebook's parent company, Meta, is spending billions every year in an attempt to create the metaverse. We've talked about this at length. Its main competition, the company says, is from Microsoft, Sony, Apple, Epic Games. There you go. And Google. I was about to say, I cannot believe that they are never mentioning a games company here. That doesn't make any sense to me. Again, all of these games you've been playing your entire life, these are small metaverses. Like, how hard is it for Sony to create an environment where you go to a concert or you chat with friends? I mean, Xbox has already done this. They're already in the metaverse. So this idea that Facebook somehow is going to do this is silly to me. The metaverse concept that Meta is pursuing is similar to online gaming worlds with 3D avatars. Yeah, bingo, duh. So 10 billion is being invested into the metaverse. We get it. Facebook's going for it. Um, though no such market for a metaverse exists just yet, Meta is already sizing up the competition, according to BusinessInsider.com. Quote: "As we invest in the metaverse, we know that we face fierce competition from companies like Microsoft, Google, Apple, Snap, Sony, Roblox, Epic, and many other Mojang." I mean, like, what is it? Minecraft is just a metaverse. It's just silly to me. So anyway, so they're going to try to get into the gaming industry, basically. I mean, look, it's a lot to do about nothing ultimately, because they're just trying to become Nintendo, as far as I'm concerned. Because you don't think Nintendo is going to have fully immersive environments? Of course they are. You're going to be Mario running around, beating Bowser up. Know what I mean? Ladies and gentlemen, let's recap the news of the day. YouTube hiding dislike counts. Okay. Not sure how you feel about it. If you have strong feelings about it, youtube.com/send it rising. Leave me a comment. Let me know. I don't know. I don't have strong feelings about it. I get where they're coming from. Ultimately, I think YouTube is trying to just be the kindergarten teacher as opposed to the adult, but they have a lot of kids on their platform, so I get where they're coming from. Widely viewed content report. Yeah, thanks, Facebook. You want us to know that it's much more wholesome than than the news would lead you to believe. And poor Facebook. I mean, the reality is every journalist, including myself, on the planet just beats them up all the time because they're such a huge target. They're so easy to target and to criticize, because they were revolutionary in their ability to connect the entire globe. And you don't think the globe has issues? Of course it does. I'm not saying they're perfect by any stretch of the imagination. Facebook launching shops and groups and live shopping for creators. If you want to make money and you got a Facebook group, well, go live and sell them stuff. Freelancers can now offer their services on LinkedIn's new gig marketplace. Well, check it out. LinkedIn Service Marketplace. If you want to make some cheddar with your freelancing. Google Maps been tracking you for years, most likely. You can delete it if you want to. And Zuckerberg's worried about some of these other companies getting into the metaverse because, I don't know, when you name your entire company your new next project, it puts a little bit of pressure. That's the other thing too. It's like if you work for Facebook and they're like, we're Meta now, you're like, oh, here we go, because it better work. Otherwise, you look like an idiot. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the show for today. Thanks for swinging on by. I genuinely appreciate it. Shout out to Skinny Iron coming to us from Twitch, showing some love from that platform. Tell a friend, youtube.com/send it rising. If you want to check us out on Twitch, like Skinny Iron did, it's Kautzmania, Kautzmania. My last name is Kautzman. That's where that came from. I used to stream chess on Twitch for about a year and a half. It's good times. Anyway, have a wonderful day. We'll see you all next time.